Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu tabletop role-playing game rules by Chaosium. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. While we try very hard to stick to language for all ages, listeners should know that this podcast may include mature themes. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., that may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your keeper. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I'm your keeper, Keeper Michael, and we return to Masks of Nyarlathotep in our Kenya chapter. And at the top of the show, as we always like to do, we'd like to thank you, the listener, and especially you, the Patreon supporter. You can check out what we have to offer on Patreon at patreon.com/theoldwayspodcast. And we are also available in all formats, even in YouTube. So check us out over there as well. And now, a bit of a truncated introduction to my right.
This is Tiffany, and I play Maeve O'Shea, and I'm about to exit stage left.
If only that was possible. To Miss O'Shea's right.
This is Morgan. I play Lillian Lane, otherwise known as Jake, for this episode.
It's fantastic. I look forward to the deepening of your voice by the moment. And we are in the missing Jack Doyle formation this evening, but that's okay because to that spot's right.
This is Lonnie, and I play Robert Drummond, and I am not exactly exiting, but I'm certainly going off stage for some reason.
Yeah. Good luck. And we are in the missing doctor formation for this episode, but that's okay because last but most certainly not least.
This is Alex playing Saint-Benoit, who is traveling with a distinguished gentleman.
Indeed. Who even has a nice fedora.
The best fedora.
That's right. So we will raise the curtain tonight at the tea house, or at least in its vicinity. So last episode, Sam and a person who used to be Lillian did some scouting. They noticed that there was an awful lot of increased traffic in the area. And then they began to slowly sort of work this leapfrog scouting technique where they scouted out the space and then moved to a different space. And to give them sort of a summation of the things that they would find over a few hours, the traffic around the tea house doesn't really let up. Many of these figures in these white and red adorned robes do enter the tea house. They seemingly make purchases. What they're purchasing, you're not certain of. They come out with small bags. And really after that, they seem to disperse into the larger area and then eventually out of the market itself. Beyond that, though, there are some things that you pick up on just based on the timing and the time spent in and around that space that doesn't have anything to do with the folks in the robes.
I do have a question before we leave them totally alone and move on from them. Considering we're kind of wandering around the market or the thoroughfare or street, whatever you might call it, what are the chances I might be able to bump into one of these fellows after they go shopping?
Probably pretty high.
And what are the chances that something that they have might fall out of their pocket?
Fall out of their pocket?
With a mild amount of assistance, perhaps.
Oh, I mean, if you'd like to attempt to pilfer their pocket, precariously.
I mean, I'm curious. I'm very curious.
I'm certain that you are.
It's all about the cat and me. I would like to nudge one accidentally, unnoticed.
Okay. Sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand sounds like the go-to here.
Mm-hmm.
That is a 17 out of 67. So that's a hard success.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you easily pilfer inside one of these bags and collect a small, we'll say, package.
Okay.
It's a bauble. It's no bigger than really a pack of cigarettes. It has a pungent odor.
I won't inspect it right then and there, but what'd I get? I'll
No, it's not Skyrim.
when I make my way back to Lillian.
I watch you do this, and I'm like, I'm smoking a cigarette, and I like, as you like go to pickpocket the cultist, I kind of choke on the smoke as kind of look the other way.
This is the spot point ad for Camel Herbal Jazz cigarettes.
And good for you, too. Yeah, I made my way back to Jake, and I will give him kind of the underpalm view of whatever it was that I snagged, and I'll take a look at it as well.
Okay. It looks like a little package.
It smells. Is it tea?
It's pungent. If it's tea, it's probably one of the strongest teas you've ever smelled. Wow.
I don't think I want to drink this. What do you think it is?
And I take a giant whiff of it. Maybe the doctor will know.
If you inspect it and are actually want to attempt to identify it, there are some processes that you can go through to do that. One is biology and the other would be natural world. That natural world is a hard roll.
I don't really know what to make of this. It could be peace. It could be some sort of ritual component. It could be spice for soup. What I'll say is this, and I will just kind of drop it into Jake's pocket. If you want to take a deeper look at it, your turn's up at the cafe pretty soon.
I'm not going to ingest it.
No, it's not what I meant. Your thing.
That's a touchy thing.
If you want, I don't want to push you to.
It's a good idea. I could be sitting down for this.
I really wish you would sit down when you do it. I continue my circuit. Just kind of walk away.
Okay.
And you said that they had kind of dispersed after that?
Mm-hmm.
Like none to be seen or just fewer?
I would say much, much fewer.
Yeah, I'll make my way over to the cafe, diagonal type fashion of perusing here and there. And I will sit down and grab what do they serve at this cafe?
Well, it's probably, cooked vegetables and different meat selections. Rice is also a mainstay here in an Asian market. There is some fish, freshwater fish.
Yeah, I will take some rice and tea and sit at a table outside with my back to the building. I will pull out the neat little package, but leave it in my lap under the table.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will roll for psychometry.
Okay. So go ahead and roll psychometry.
I got an 8 out of 57.
Ooh, that's an extreme success. So you touch this sack, and as you touch the sort of outer edges of it, you can tell that there's a little bit of, I guess, elasticity to it. And the odor that comes from within it is again, it's pretty strong. You can feel it sort of get on your fingers, just the tips. Your perceptions, though, shift pretty hard. And you're standing in a basement. And you see this smaller, almost portly woman working at a table nearby. There's all sorts of these large jars around her. And she is carefully preparing herbs and putting them into a jar. And she does it over and over again. And there's almost this tune that she's humming. You can hear her bum 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 bum. Almost like she's going up a musical scale and coming back down. And she continues to do this over a period of time. You get the opportunity to see her move some of these. I guess the best visual representation I would make for you is they look almost like dried chilies. That's the best way to say it. And she's carefully selecting them and cutting them and placing them into these bags. And then right when she finishes closing up this sack, her neck and head spin towards you. And you make eye contact with her.
Do I wake up or anything?
No, you haven't woken up yet.
I kind of slink back towards the wall and try to mold into any shadows that there might be.
Psychometry takes a certain number of rounds, Miss Lane. And so you've spent probably 6 of the 8 rounds or so that it's going to take you to get through this. And so you can tell that the vision's going to fade here. It's going to fade. It's going to fade. You keep hearing that in your own head. You're like, okay, time's almost up. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get back to my body, etc., etc. And those last seconds seem to last forever. And you watch her left hand come up and she makes like a gesture in the air towards you. And you know the sensation when you use psychometry. You know the sensation of you falling back into your body and gaining your perceptions. And it almost feels like that process begins to drag out.
Yeah, I'm starting to panic a little bit.
I'd like to have you make me a contested power roll.
Oh. Got a 92 out of 50.
Okay. I am going to play a hand of fate for you, and I'm going to make that a normal success.
Thank you, Patreon.
Unfortunately, that is not going to be enough. And so you could spend down to a hard to make it a success if you want to. The person you're opposing has a hard success, so you would need to either spend to a hard to match them on the power roll or spend all the way to an extreme to beat them. Your choice, of course.
Do I have to do anything? Can I just...
You could simply fail and allow them to beat you on it.
Oh, I'll spend the 25 luck to make it a hard success.
Okay. You have what can only be described as a war of wills. And you have to wrench your brain and spirit back into your own body. This will deal you 5 points of MP damage as your spirit gets rocked. Sam, you're paying a fair amount close attention to the location while Lillian is doing her work.
Yeah, I mean, I make sure that we keep each other in sightline, but yes.
Oh, certainly. But the cafe is not far from the tea house.
Sure.
It's not far at all. And you see something you were not expecting. And that is Toncourt exit the front of the building. Like, purposefully. And she gets out into the open market streets, and you see her begin to look around.
What time of day is it?
Deep scan. It's 6 o'clock. So the tea house is close to closing up for the night. It closes at 7.
So something has alarmed her, it seems.
I mean, this is the first time you've ever seen her walk outside the tea house like this.
Like, there are people still in there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Then I am going to, I guess, if I were to walk toward the cafe, would I be walking toward Toncourt?
You'd have to cross her face, essentially. So you're in a position where you can see Lillian where she's sitting, and you could also see the tea house. And if you want to walk, to get to Lillian, you're going to have to pass by Toncourt.
Then what I will do is I will definitely put most of my back to her, but I want to watch her and keep an eye on the direction I know Lillian is in. But I want to see what she does.
Okay. So she pauses outside the front of the building for probably a good 30 seconds. And after that, she heads back inside.
Can I tell anything about her, I guess, emotional state going back in?
She seems a little frustrated.
Okay. Is it one of those, like, check over your shoulder every few seconds as you walk back to the door kind of things, or does she just kind of go back in?
She just goes back in.
Okay.
She seems pretty purposeful in that regard.
Then I definitely go report to Lillian after that.
Okay. I will pause the both of you there for the moment and head back over to Hampton House, where 2 investigators are desperate to exit stage left.
Yes.
Because of the words that they've had with Reggie. And so after Reggie heads into the kitchen to get your hot water, you're both leaving. Is that the case?
Yeah. Just getting up and heading towards the door.
I'm taking 5 seconds to do a little mental refresh of my map of the place, such as I know it.
Mm-hmm.
Would I have seen at any point that I've interacted with Reggie? He doesn't go to his office through the kitchen, right?
You don't know where his office is.
I mean, let me put it this way: if I had seen him leaving his bar for whatever reason, he wouldn't have directly proceeded through the kitchen necessarily.
No, you probably have seen him only go into the kitchen a couple of times. Normally he has everything brought to him.
In that case, I will head out the front door and then cut towards the alleyway that I presume is not far from the side of the building by the kitchen, where I assume deliveries and such would be taken.
Yeah, absolutely. Where are you going, Miss O'Shea?
I'm going out, and what's across the street from here?
Let me go to the map and I will ascertain that post haste. Because clearly it looks like somebody's getting froggy. So directly across the street is the Bank of England. There is also City Park Square. That's not terribly far. To the immediate southwest, there is the East African Standard. Not sure what that is exactly, but it's there. There's a government house not far.
Well, I'll just go to the Park Square to where I can still see the hotel.
Okay.
Basically, and find a spot that I'm not obvious or anything and keep an eye on the front just to see if there's anybody, coming in or whatever.
Okay. Fair enough. You do what you say. You exit stage left. It does look like if you go to the park that's across the street, you'll be on the other side of the Bank of England. So while it's not totally obscured, you'd have to sit in a pretty specific spot to be able to see the hotel.
Okay.
But the flip side being is that they would have to be in a very specific spot to see you.
Mm-hmm.
As for you, Robert, you fairly easily can find the alley. It's actually not. It's only it's less than a block from the train station. So there's definitely alley here.
Well, like I said, what I was looking for was the back door to the hotel, where the service entrance, basically.
Easy enough to find. What do you do when you get there?
First, I want to look and see if I see Reggie headed quickly out the back.
Nope, you do not.
Then in that case, I'd like to go to the service entrance and see if it's open. Is there anyone around?
Yeah, there's no one standing outside the service entrance, but when you get to the service entrance, you can hear the din of the kitchen.
I'd like to take a few seconds for a listen roll.
What are you listening for?
I'm listening for general sounds of agitation or surprise or like a large body hurrying away,
Okay.
Perhaps full of port.
Couldn't make me a listen roll.
Yeah, I'd like to really push that roll.
Well, why don't you tell me what you got first, and then we'll go.
Well, I got a 90 over 65.
Okay. Yeah, clearly not a success.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you'd like to push, then why don't you tell me how you're going to push?
I'm going to actually grab the handle of the door and crack it slightly.
Okay.
Not enough to hopefully alert anyone that somebody's coming in the door, but certainly enough that I can hear better what's in there.
Certainly. Okay.
Ooh, well, that's a failure as well. 77 over 65.
Okay. So here's what happens. You go to listen in a little closer.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a little closer to the door. And you know if you just open it a little bit more, you'll be able to finally hear what's going on there. Because you start to hear some voices that are a little elevated. And maybe one of them is Reggie. And that's when you sort of fall in, ass over tea kettle, into the back door of this service entrance to the hotel, flattening one delivery boy who was making his way towards the door, upending an entire crate of bananas, and smashing all sorts of stuff in the process.
That's me, Master Spy.
Yep, that is you, Master Spy. So the chaos begins in the back of the hotel, whether it be line cooks or chefs or service people. People come running when they hear this clatter, and they see amongst the would-be dinner of the evening, all sorts of produce has been upended, and there are bananas everywhere. This poor kid is just covered in green and yellow skins, and he seems like he's a victim of your spy master work. But he looks up, sort of just agog, like, "Oh, what happened?" Clearly not speaking English either. What are you doing?
I'm attempting to pick myself up.
Okay.
At the same time, I'm dusting myself off, and I'm going to affect the attitude of a very busy person who clearly has been inconvenienced by the shenanigans of this clumsy delivery person.
Certainly.
I'm going to try and gaslight everybody into thinking that I'm the victim here.
Well, Robert, there's nothing more European than that. So if you'd please give me, I guess, how would you like to implement this? A fast talk, an intimidate?
Fast talk. Yes,
okay.
Yes. You've got to be careful when you open doors like that. What are you doing?
How'd that fast talk go?
Can I push that?
Oh, I mean, of course. I would be... I can't let you not... I mean, I have to let you push that roll.
I mean, I rolled a 95 over 65, so I wasn't sure if that's a fumble or if
no, because your skill is over 50. It's not a fumble.
Okay. Well, at any rate, I'm going to go with the typical upper class version of this, which is by going even louder and much more strident.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to speak to your manager, whoever your manager is.
Wonderful.
Okay, that's a hard success. 32 under 65.
Okay. You do the thing that is very easy for you to do. You dig in and you wag your finger and you get real loud. And all those folks, those regular staff people, they get scared. And they help the boy up and they start apologizing to you. And the next thing you know, you seem to have control of the situation, at least for the second. And you realize you could probably make an exit at this point.
I will make an exit, but I want to make a quick glance to see if I see Reggie or if I see any exits.
You don't see Reggie when you scan the interior here. Because you're sort of, at this point, between the interior and exterior, sort of in that door space.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't see any... I mean, there are exits from the kitchen, certainly. They go different places, but not exits like external exits.
Not external, but just like how many different doors do I see? Do I see? Damn it! All right, I'm going to head back out the back.
Mm-hmm. You turn around and run right into Reggie.
Mm-hmm.
He gives you a very strange look.
Ah, there you are.
Mr. Drummond, what are you doing?
Well, I came to head you off. I know you were going back for the tea for Miss O'Shea. And, well, to be honest, Miss O'Shea suddenly declared that she had somewhere to be and took off on me very suddenly. Females, am I right?
Indeed. He smiles. He looks past you. Fruit salad.
I'm afraid I may have startled your help coming in.
I'm certain they'll get over it. I guess I'll put the tea aside. I'm certain that Miss O'Shea will be back. After all of her things are here.
That is the value of running a hotel. You always know where your guests are, eventually.
That's very true. Very true. It's good of you to not forget that. He steps past you into the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to give like a nod of approval to the staff that's trying to clean up your absolute mess.
Mm-hmm.
And then he turns back and says, if it's all the same, service entrances are meant for employees of the hotel.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
He shuts the door in your face. Now, Miss Lane, you get back to your body.
I do have a quick question. When I was in my groove, was I Jake or was I Lillian?
You were definitely Lillian.
Okay, that's what I figured. So,
A disguise is one thing. A complete and utter spiritual change is something that a little bit more engrossing.
Sam is good, but not that.
I can do that for me.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of startle a little bit as I come back to my body. A little more tired now. And I immediately look up to see if anybody's looking at me or...
No.
I am.
You do see Sam. You see Sam. I don't. That's a good question. Does she see you, Sam?
Well, I mean, she would. Yeah, I'm not like I'm heading. Once I see Tonkor go back in, then I resume my pace as a casual stroller of street traffic, and I make my way back to the cafe.
Okay. You see Lillian there as Jack or Jake.
Lunch, huh? Point at the table.
Why, yes, join me.
I do so happily.
Yeah, and I lean into Sam and kind of whisper, I think she saw me.
Is that even possible? How is that? Never mind.
It shouldn't be.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. She came out of the store. Are you okay?
I pat myself down a little bit. I think so.
You're not bleeding from your eyes or ears?
Can you look at my nose for me? Do I look like I'm bleeding?
I do so.
You don't see that she's bleeding. And I'm not going to ask you to make a spot roll for this, Sam, because it's something that you would just naturally, given the disguise you placed under her. You see that there are red marks on the side of her face. Both of them. And those red marks form a pattern.
Shit.
It's a crescent moon. And it's not a direct moon. It's as if someone had placed their hand on the sides of her face and someone had pressed really hard into her skin. Because each of those points are, say, fingertip sized.
So these look like bruises or is it a mark?
Well, it's bruising, yes, but not like the dark brown, purple, etc.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a heat blister. It's a blistering of the skin.
Let's get you out of the sun.
Why? What's wrong?
There's something on your face. No, don't smack it. Don't touch it.
Start touching my face.
Stop it.
Okay. Do you think I should go back to the hotel?
I think that probably would be a good idea. What time is it now?
It's getting close to 7.
The shop's going to be closing soon. Do you feel okay making it back on your own?
Is it still daylight?
It's getting on to evening.
So it's twilight.
Walk confidently, look like you know where you're going. Be okay.
Yes. Yeah, I will.
As long as you know where you're going.
I do know where I'm going, thank you.
And I will hand I'll hand Jake my notes on all of the numbers of people and such and everything that I've been able to derive so far, and let them know that I'll be here until morning.
Okay, I stand up and I put the notes from Sam in one of my pockets. I put the little package in my other pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at Sam and, be safe out there. And I wink and head back to the hotel.
Okay. So this is something that you'd probably see Miss O'Shea hanging out at the park, and that is after 20 or so minutes of letting things cool down, making sure that you're not being followed. You see, it isn't that you see Lillian walking towards you because she's been disguised by somebody who's very good at disguising. You see someone wearing Jack Doyle's hat walking back towards the hotel. You know that hat. You've looked him in the eye 100 times while he's been wearing that hat. And whoever that person is, they're not Jack Doyle. But they're wearing his hat.
Okay, I will go catch up with that person and walk behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And then go, where did you get that hat?
Do I hear Miss O'Shea?
You do.
I turn around and I bow my head, kind of tilt my hat towards her. Ma'am. And then kind of chuckle a little bit. Maeve, it's me.
Okay, so a couple of things. First, that is Lillian in disguise. A very effective disguise. She can't pull off the entirety of a man's voice, but she certainly doesn't look like herself.
Good disguise.
Yeah, Sam is really good at this.
So he says.
What are you doing outside?
So, I was supposed to have a discussion with Reggie and with Robert, and I was trying to be cagey about it and determine that he wasn't going to give us any information. So then Robert decided to ask direct questions, and then it got a little cagey from there.
So we can't go back in the hotel?
Oh, we can. I think now is okay. I just wanted to make sure he wasn't calling in reinforcements or anything.
No, what kind of questions did Robert ask?
About Roger, and told him how, the body, the report about the bodies was fake. And yeah, it was more information than I was willing to give up. But I'm also not the best investigator, so
I wouldn't sell yourself short.
I just do other things. I don't do the people thing.
Should we go back in and find Robert? I don't see him out here.
I don't see him out here either. I just left so that I could watch the front to make sure that nobody in red showed up. So.
Oh, we saw some of those at outside the tea shop.
Oh, this is my shocked face. Meaning I'm not shocked. At all.
I have my notes from Sam, in my pocket here. And a package from the tea shop in this pocket that maybe you and the doctor can identify.
Yeah, it's possible. So we're planning to move on the shop soon then?
Yep, Sam is there overnight, surveying the premises.
So when we hear from him, we're moving?
Actually, we didn't discuss that part, but, I think that sounds like a great plan.
He usually comes to find us. That's fine. Why don't we go in and you keep up your ruse, I guess? So then I have a reason that I left?
I can be your cousin Jake.
Okay. We can just head up to our room, but yeah, that's fine.
Oh, Miss O'Shea, I am not that kind of man.
So the two of you head back and without any sort of pomp or circumstance, enter back into the hotel and head upstairs. So when you get upstairs, what is it that the two of you are doing, if anything?
I take the package, the smelly package, out of my coat pocket, and I hand it to Maeve. Take this away from me, because, you know, when I did my, as Sam would say, my touchy thing, I'm pretty sure Tankor spotted me during my touchy thing.
You would have your own, likely, given the years that you've been able to do psychometry, you wouldn't call it a touchy thing.
Oh no, for the other people, it's a touchy thing. It's psychometry.
You went to Miskatonic University, I'll have you know.
I graduated with honors.
Right.
So I think she saw me, and I have these marks on the side of my head.
When she points them out, you see them.
Did she touch you when she saw you?
She didn't. And you're really not supposed to be able to touch me in those situations.
Well, if she can reach into astral space, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't remember her touching me. But apparently she or something got a hold of me, and I don't know if she found out any information. I don't know what she did.
Marked you?
Well, I hope not. I don't want these to be permanent.
I don't know if they're going to be permanent or not, but it doesn't mean she can't find you through them.
Do you have anything you can do to block, like maybe block my location or anything?
That's not really what I do. I don't think so, though.
You could attempt to erect some sort of ward.
Oh, yeah. It takes like an hour. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Well, got to ruin another hotel floor. So while you're looking at that, Robert, where are you going?
I am headed back to my room, and I'm going to write a note saying I'm being watched, and slip it under the doctor's door.
Okay. Makes sense.
And it's like 7 o'clock at night?
Yeah, roughly.
I think I'm barricading myself in my room for the night.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Any changes, Miss O'Shea?
Yeah, so can I use occult to identify the stuff that she has?
So there are 2 roles that would work for this, quote, stuff, unquote. And that would be science, biology, or natural world.
Well, then it's not within my purview. I was going to say occult if it's, those kind of herbs or anything.
Yeah, unfortunately, those are not...
Right, because I don't know what they go to.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Like, if you could pass a roll, then there might be a roll after that, but yeah.
Right. Okay. Yes, I'll look at Lillian and say, so here's the thing. If she saw you, everybody, anybody who's anybody knows who Lillian Lane is. It's not hard to find what hotel you're in. So even if I put a circle of warding here, which still would help against spells and whatnot, she still knows how to find you. It also means then you wouldn't be able to leave this circle.
Well, neither sounds like a good option.
That's what I got.
I think I'll take my chances then.
Like I said, it can protect you against further spells or further incantations or any other things that could come after you. But you have to stay in the circle.
Well, then I would be no use to anybody. Well, I appreciate you looking. I don't think that's going to work for our current situation.
All right, so Sam, after Lillian leaves, what's the game?
Well, for me, this place tends to wind down later into the evening, right? In general.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So as traffic starts to disperse, I'm going to spend more time looking for a spot to actually hunker down, because my rotating plan won't necessarily work if there's no traffic and shops are closed.
That's true.
So yeah, it's time to find a place to hide.
Okay. It probably takes you a good half an hour or an hour to find a, quote, good place to hide that isn't the alley. But you do eventually find one. You see Tankur lock up the shop and leave. She walks down the street past the cafe that Lillian was at, and then eventually stops at another restaurant and seemingly sits down to have dinner.
Interesting. Okay. Then I will watch this go down. Is she ever joined by anyone, or is she staying alone? Or
she is. She's actually joined by two other people.
Well,
she is joined by a slender and older woman who brings with her a board and what looks like a chess set.
Wait, are you saying that our rabbit occultist firebrand is a bridge player? Like it's just like a bridge group.
No, well, not exactly. No, but they play chess. It looks like.
Okay.
They're also eventually joined by a third person, who is also a woman, and this is a woman who dresses in a lot of the same local garms. She looks like she might be another merchant.
They're inside the restaurant, right? And I'm outside. Is that okay? I'm not going to get close enough to try to listen to what the hell they're talking about.
No? Okay.
No, that sounds like a bad idea.
I can hear the Christmas fire burning now.
Yeah, right. I will definitely watch and see if there's any exchanges of any kind, or if the tone seems serious, or if it seems, end of work day. Like, is this casual? Is this?
Yeah, these are pretty casual physical pickups that you're getting from her. I mean, it's not like they're not there for a half an hour. They're there for at least an hour, depending upon how long you stay. There's drinks involved. There's all sorts of things. This looks like a pretty casual group.
Okay. Yeah, I could definitely continue watching.
How long are you going to watch?
So I'm not going back to the hotel until morning. So if Tankor goes back to the shop and stays there, I'm staying here. If Tankor leaves the shop again, or if she leaves this place and doesn't go back to the shop, I'll be following her to figure out where she's going.
Okay. You are there for hours. She plays and drinks and has a good time and talks to the occasional people that pass by. She doesn't seem overly extroverted, but she's not cloistered by any means. And it really isn't until maybe 11 o'clock or so. You are functionally fairly tired.
Sure.
Although you have a wonderful constitution, and we've tested that theory about how long Sam can stay up before. It isn't until about 11, when this restaurant is almost completely empty, that a rather portly, swollen hotel owner finally waddles up to this table and sits down with her.
Reggie?
It's definitely Reggie Martin.
I will definitely polish the lens of the field glasses to make sure that I get a nice, clean view of what's going on now. When he comes up, do they seem surprised at all? Or does it seem like, it's like, is it like he just walked into, is he the late person walking into the bar that everybody goes to? Like that's...
Yeah, it seems like there's some familiarity between the people here. More than one. And it doesn't take more than a minute or two before the conversation gets animated.
How close are they to like the exterior of the restaurant?
They're not. That's the problem. They're probably 4 or 5 tables into the interior. So you need the field glasses to even see them.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be able to get in without being seen. I'd have to open the door. The front door. Okay, we're just not doing that. I will continue to watch. So whatever Reggie's told them seems to have kind of set them off.
Well, The other two women, other than Contour, seem to be a little concerned.
Okay.
But the tea owner herself seems a little unflappable. She doesn't react to his conversation. Like he's gesticulating and he's seeming to try to raise, all 7 hells by himself. Mm-hmm. And she is completely flatline focused, which is a little scary, actually.
Because he's trying to definitely get a reaction.
He is. He's trying to make his point by bloviating and table banging. And she's just not reacting to it.
This freaking guy.
The car pulls up outside.
Oh, that's new.
It idles there for maybe a minute before Reggie leaves in a huff. Quickly slams the door on the auto as he gets into it, and it throttles out of the Asian Quarter.
I continue scribbling.
Well, I think that's as good a time to his end. And so we've set a few pieces in motion now, and we'll see what next week brings. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Masks of Nyarlathotep as the Kenya chapter continues to blossom. Thank you, and good night.